Hi, I'm Parker.
And I'm Tim.
And this is the Rage Podcast, where today we are going to enlighten you all to the secret knowledge.
Wait, is that what we're doing? Yeah. It seems like that's what we're actually arguing against today. Yeah. But Parker and I want to talk about, and you'll notice this word I'm about to use was not in the title because we wanted you all to actually listen to it, is we're going to talk about Gnosticism. And that's an ancient heresy that is alive and well today. But it's something that the Christian church has been fighting against in one form or another for approximately 2,000 years. And as you'll find out throughout the course of the next 10 minutes, it's still a problem, and it's becoming more of a problem today maybe than it's ever been. So, and kind of painting with a broad brush, Gnosticism is the idea that there is some kind of secret knowledge out there that if you know the secret knowledge, it unlocks the keys to the universe. I mean, that's the 10,000 foot view of it. But if you know this, or you can speak the right language, or you can do the right thing, or understand the right stuff, or read the right book, or whatever, that will unlock everything in the world. Everything will just make sense based on this secret knowledge that you have. And I tell you what, in the ancient world, in the early church, it was the division between spirit and body. Meaning, in that time, it was the idea that basically our bodies were a facade. It was all fake anyways. We were actually these kind of enlightened beings, whatever that means, separated from our bodies. And that was one of the first heresies identified from the church, is saying, no, we have been created by God as body and soul together. We are united as one. And there'll come a time that our physical bodies will die, and we'll talk about resurrection. But basically, Gnosticism was the idea that that's already happened. We're already separated, and there are things about you that are not evident. And you could draw your own parallels to things that we see today about our bodies that apparently are not evident anymore, and how that has become a problem. So that's the argument that we want to take a look at today. Are there secret things out there that you can know that help you understand the world better? I think there probably are. But the problem is, though, once you know them, there's no need to keep them secret anymore. Like, understanding Christ, understanding Jesus and salvation, that changes things. But once you know that, you don't need to keep it secret anymore. It's not like you're joining a club.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Why would you want to keep? Why would anyone keep certain things like that a secret?
Right.
If there was this special thing that you knew, that somebody
Right.
knew, that solved all the problems, or made you, like you said, like the key to the universe, or
Right.
think like an intellectual, I guess, if you want to use it like that, then why would you not share that with everyone?
Right.
You know?
Right. And I think that's kind of what we're running into today is we have divided things out where there are certain things that you can know that changes all of reality. It may change your perspective on reality, but there are some things that are real that can't really be changed. I think that's the danger we're running into is we have made the search for wisdom and the search for experience more important than the truth. And look, there are some things that may be true about, but you got to be careful what you're throwing out, because when you throw out things just because they're old or just because we used to have them and they don't seem to be relevant anymore, you're throwing out a lot. You're throwing away all your traditions.
So, Tim, you did say, talking about when you said you're throwing out all your traditions, it was an ancient heresy.
Mm-hmm.
So then why in the 21st century are we talking about this ancient heresy?
Because we apparently haven't decided it's bad yet. We're still dealing with it. It goes by different names. It has gone by different names through the years, and I guess I'll go ahead and step in it right here. Is our current way that we deal with Gnosticism is what we would call being woke. And look, there's nothing wrong with disagreeing on things and looking for how we experience the world, and those are all great things to do. But when we say you can contradict reality by your understanding, that's where you run into trouble.
But it's all a lie.
Yeah.
There is no secret. The secret is the lie.
Right. And the reason it has to say secret is you have to guard it.
Yeah.
The truth never needs to be guarded, ever.
So it's not like there is anything out there. They're
Right.
they're just coming up with a lie of
Right.
like this. I did this, and no one knows what the this is.
Yeah. Or I identify in this way, but I can't explain why.
Yeah.
I just feel it.
Yeah.
I have this feeling, this understanding, this thing, and that can lead to all kind of problems because, I'm not going to speak for Parker, but when I was young, I identified as a transformer. And I wanted to be Optimus Prime, and to understand, had my parents fit into that, which in some ways they did, but they never really said, okay, now today we're going to go get fitted for tires, so you transform into a truck. That never happened, because they all knew it was the fantasy of a child. And I feel like when we don't draw the distinction between, dreams and fantasies and feelings and reality, it can lead us to a very bad place. And look, I understand there are things that in the world that we used to embrace as truth, and that we used to embrace as the way it was, that we see very differently now. Mm-hmm. But once we did that and we explained it and everybody kind of listened to each other, we realized what the truth was. And we were able to then base that on teachings and truths that we had from the past. Where today we're just kind of throwing everything into a blender and seeing what comes out.
It's the example of it's the example of saying you're something when you're not. It's like if I go and tell someone I'm smarter than them, or I am let's take it as something as simple as I am faster than you. Mm-hmm. But then you do not challenge them to a race to prove that you are faster. Yeah. That is what this is.
Right.
It's
right. Your claims become the reality.
Yes.
There needs to be no evidence of it. Always before, whenever we changed the way we understood things, there was always evidence.
Yeah.
And always logical arguments. Where I think your example is a good one. If you want to claim you're faster than me, there's an easy way to prove that. But if you never go to the starting line, there's no way you can make that. You're just claiming stuff. And imagine we did it that way. I declared myself NBA champion. That's just what I am. I've never played in a basketball game in my life, but that's what I declare. Somewhere there has to be evidence of that, or else people are claiming all kind of things.
But why? So you talk a lot of you've been talking a lot about identify as this and mm-hmm. this and this and this, but I think it's more broad than that. Mm-hmm. It's in the sense all the time and not to get into I don't want to get very political, but there are people out there who are saying you need to get educated. Mm-hmm. There's people that use that term all the time, or for people who have opposing views. The person who tends to lose an argument and just says, well, you're not educated enough to understand, You
don't have my level of secret knowledge to understand what I'm talking about.
But again, even if there was a knowledge, it's really just a secret lie. Mm-hmm. But if there was knowledge, it wouldn't be that hard to explain it to any person, mm-hmm. really. Mm-hmm.
And I can accept and reject it. I mean, you can reject things that are true. I wouldn't recommend that. But the idea is that just the fact that I make the argument proves the argument. That's too simplistic. There's no process. There's no testing. There's no evidence. It just leaves out so many parts of the process that we'll need to be able to make the claims that we want to make. And that's what scares me, is that when we throw out everything in the past just because it's in the past, yes, there were some things there that were terrible. And nobody's, certainly I'm not, and I know Parker's not disputing that. But there was also a lot of things in the past that were good. And to throw them all out...
But even to throw the bad things out, to not even ever look back on those bad things.
To learn from them, sure.
We need those to learn from them.
Yeah.
It's not like if we just push all the bad stuff away, mm-hmm. bad things will just continue to happen.
Right, yeah. And by tearing down our past and just living in the moment is a very dangerous thing, because there's no scientific process in that. Yeah. There's not even an ideological process. There's not even a series of discoveries. Because everything that we have today, including this camera that Parker and I are filming on, there was a process of trials and errors in order to create this mm-hmm. device that we're now using. And if they started over from scratch every time they made one, we would probably not be. We would be filming on a film reel that you had.
It's like everything in life is false for now.
Yeah, yeah, false for now. There you go. Yeah, we're quoting the Babylon Bee now, which is always correct. But yeah. Yeah, there's a new scientific category called false for now, but that's another thing. But
that's kind of what it's.
That is kind of what it. Or true for now.
Yeah,
another
true
one.
For now. Yeah. It's until somebody and I think a lot of this, the harm in this is when it becomes like groupthink, when the mm-hmm. majority has claim and everyone else is like the sheep. Mm-hmm. Then when the majority has this idea of the secret knowledge mm-hmm. or whatnot, or mm-hmm. not having to back up anything that they believe in, mm-hmm. and the majority overtakes everyone else, what do we have?
Yeah. Well, and
What have we gained?
And that's what the secret knowledge does, is it insulates itself. Truth doesn't need insulation. Truth can stand by itself.
Yes.
It doesn't need any help. It doesn't need any bolsters. Nothing. Because the truth is good on itself. Well, like Parker says, when you get some of this secret knowledge stuff, well, then you have to protect it, and you have to get echo chambers, and you have to get a bunch of people who are saying the same thing, and then everybody quotes each other. And anybody who challenges it must be destroyed, because they're just not, as Parker said, educated enough. That's well said. Because if they just reached our level of understanding, then they would just know. And the truth doesn't need that. You know, who's faster in a race?
The person who wins the race.
Yeah, there's no.
You know?
Yeah, because there's evidence. And when you have to protect your truth, you're going to have to ask yourself how true it is. You know, if your truth cannot stand up to scrutiny and cannot stand up to challenge, that's not the way the truth works.
Yeah.
I mean, the truth could go through a hurricane, but sometimes if you're fragile, you know, secret knowledge, one little challenge and it upsets the whole apple cart, and then you got to throw people off social media and all this stuff. That's not truth, because truth doesn't need that kind of help. So I guess this is a good place to put it. We'll put it here. In order to learn a little bit about the infallible nature of truth and just how important it is and how it can stand up to any challenge, we are going to go next level with Parker.
Thing that we need to discuss for the podcast today is the simple fact that the truth doesn't need to be kept secret. When you have something that you classify as truth to you, it shouldn't be kept tucked away. It shouldn't be a secret thought. It shouldn't be kept away from other people. You know, it should shine out. You know, the truth will prevail, as people will say. And I hope that you can eventually understand that when you walk through life, when somebody keeps something that's so basic in their eyes away from you and keep it as a lie, that's a situation where you might want to dig a little bit deeper into.
All right, well, thanks for that, Parker. And what we want to close with is just a conversation, because Parker and I have done a number of these Rage podcast episodes, and we always want to invite conversation, and we could tell from some of the comments we get that not everybody agrees with us, which is cool. But what we want you to see is that truth invites conversation. Truth invites people together. Truth is an inviting thing where we all can have a conversation. And honestly, we can shake hands and disagree.
Truth can be discussed upon.
Exactly.
You cannot, and how we just been talking this entire time about the secret knowledge and all this other stuff. You cannot discuss about it, again, because they keep it secret.
Right, and they're very defensive about it.
Yeah.
And the truth doesn't need that. You know, if it's true, it will stand up to any scrutiny. And look, there are things earlier in my life that I embraced as true that, you know, I put it to scrutiny and found out that, you know, my mind may have changed about some things, and that's fine. And that's good, because that shows growth. At the same time, there are some things I embraced as truth when I was 5 years old that I still hold to very well today, because I put them up to every scrutiny, the scrutiny of college, scrutiny of seminary, scrutiny of serving churches for 25 years. And they're still working. I
think that's the real secret.
Yeah.
I mean, the real secret is test the truth.
Yeah. Put it out there.
Like, I mean, if you hold something as a true idea or value or something in your life, throw it out.
Yeah,
Then you shouldn't be afraid to have it.
Fear should not be a part of it. Truth is actually the antidote to fear. You know, no matter what it is you're afraid of, whether it be afraid of the dark or afraid of public speaking or whatever it is, put it out there. Let the light shine on it. If it's truth, it'll still be there. You know, if it's not, it will dissolve.
That is an interesting way to take it, because the hard part of doing that is the mental block.
Yeah, you got to get past that.
It sounds so easy, but it honestly it's very hard.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's not easy, but it's obvious.
But that's where the trouble comes from, because it's the obvious thing to.
Well, hey, the truth is, our memory card ran out of space, so now we're filming this last little tag on here to get to the end of the video. But I don't know how much we got from before, but basically what we want to close with here is just say that truth can stand up to scrutiny. Truth doesn't need to be afraid of anything. It can't be afraid of any challenge. It can't be afraid of any conversation. It can't be afraid of any debate. Because you put it out there, and truth can take it.
The truth will prevail. Who says that?
Yes. Somebody said about the truth will set you free. Who was that? I don't know. Seems like a really smart guy said that. So, yeah. And but anyways, hey, we want you all to have a great week. That's the truth. And we want you to go on and do some good things. You got anything else to say?
Have a great week.
Have a great week, everybody.